Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're embarking on a journey into a truly fascinating concept, the energy body. Your source material, mostly from a really powerful webinar, gives us this profound perspective. It feels like it's blending, ancient wisdom with some very modern insights.
Indeed, yeah, this deep dive into your sources, it really lays out a rich tapestry of ideas. We move from these very personal, energetic experiences right through to broader implications for consciousness and even planetary shifts. It's quite a scope.
It really is. And our mission, like always, is to pull out those key nuggets of knowledge for you. We want to give clear context, connect the dots, so you can really grasp these powerful concepts quickly, but, thoroughly too.
Exactly. We'll explore what this energy body actually is, how it functions, and maybe most importantly, how it connects to your everyday experience and your potential for some pretty profound transformation.
We really aim to distill these sometimes complex ideas into insights you can actually use, making sure you walk away well informed, but hopefully not overwhelmed.
That's the goal.
Okay then. With that mission set, let's pull back the curtain on our core concept for today. So, to kick us off, what exactly is this energy body that our source material goes into?
Okay. In your source, the energy body is described quite vividly. It's called a clot of energy,
Hmm.
and more specifically, a clot of attention of the double.
Okay, the double. Let's unpack that slightly.
Okay.
That's like your energetic counterpart, a
Yeah.
higher self concept.
Yeah, something like that. A non-physical aspect of your being. That's a good way to put it.
So it's not just our physical body then,
Hmm.
or some, abstract spiritual idea floating around. It's a tangible, energetically tangible part of us tied to this double.
Precisely. It acts like an energetic lift, you could say. It
Mm.
moves your attention, your awareness between different levels of reality
Mm.
or different densities, as the source puts it.
Mhm.
And it's distinct from your physical body and from your cocoon.
Ah, the cocoon, that
Mhm.
luminous energy sphere around us, right? Where our normal consciousness is usually assembled.
That's the one. So the energy body is separate from that, but still intimately connected to both the cocoon and the physical body.
That distinction feels really important. And the source says that for warriors on the path of knowledge, people actively seeking deeper awareness, understanding this, engaging with the energy body and the cocoon. That's the key.
That's the key, yeah. To liberating energy from the grip of the world is the phrase used.
And that liberation, that's the fire from within they mentioned.
That's the connection, yes. And the energy body, it exists independently. Whether you're aware of it or not, it's there. But crucially, it's something you can intentionally interact with. You can learn to guide it. It's basically the vehicle for your attention beyond the purely physical.
Okay. So moving on then, how does one even start to interact with this energy body? Where do you begin? Your source material points pretty specifically towards dreaming.
Yes, that's the primary method emphasized. Conscious dreaming. The speaker in your source talks about setting goals for your dreams. The classic example is trying to see your hands while you're dreaming to gain lucidity.
Right. Becoming aware you're dreaming.
Exactly. But it's about active engagement, not just passively having dreams happen to you.
And this sounds like it's far from a quick trip, right? The speaker shares their own story,
Yeah.
focusing on seeing their hands in dreams for 2 years before moving on.
That's right. 2 years. It underscores the commitment needed. After that foundational step, the path involved searching for scouts, these sort of energetic messengers, and then navigating what's called the world of inorganic beings, which sounds intense.
Yeah, definitely.
And the source describes that journey as often feeling, well, meaningless, even frightening if you don't have a clear purpose. It really highlights the importance of just accumulating impressions and information steadily, not rushing the process.
So the real takeaway here for you listening is that this kind of deep energetic work, it's a serious commitment. It's not a shortcut.
Absolutely not.
Okay, now let's get into what sounds like a really pivotal aha moment for the speaker in your source. Can you describe this incredible experience they had coming back from a deep dream?
Right. So they were returning from what they described as a dark, distant dream state. And they became aware that their attention was shifting, moving from their energy body back towards their physical body and their cocoon. But instead of just letting that happen, snapping back into the physical, they intentionally redirected their focus, their attention, back into the energy body.
Okay, a conscious choice right there. And that's when things got, really extraordinary.
Yeah, that's putting it mildly. Their perception shifted completely.
Yeah.
They didn't perceive their energy body as like a human shape anymore. Instead, it was like a huge building.
Building.
Yeah, a huge building with distinct sections or floors. and they felt themselves moving upwards, like being in an elevator, moving along a glowing spiral,
Wow. That's a powerful image.
isn't it? And other people, or other consciousnesses perhaps, entered this lift on the lower floors, but by the time they reached the second to last floor, the speaker was alone. And then at the very top, their understanding just dramatically shifted. They realized the building itself wasn't made of, metal or concrete. It was constructed from the developed habits of other me,
Me?
meaning the collective intentions, the focused attention of all human beings who have ever lived.
Whoa. Okay, pause there. That's huge. All human intentions forming this structure.
And it didn't stop there. The perception then expanded to include all living creatures on Earth and the Earth itself, and then even all spheres in the universe, all planets and all spherical structures. This whole immense structure was described as a co-projection.
A co-projection, like a shared energetic manifestation, a collectively built reality.
That's exactly the sense of it. It completely reframes what we think of as reality.
Absolutely. So what happened next after realizing this?
Well, after exiting through an opening, a lumen, at the very top of this co-projection, their perception expanded even further. They found themselves in this gray-blue empty space. And in this space, there were these mysterious objects slowly moving clockwise around that central sphere, the co-projection.
Okay.
And one of these objects they perceived as theirs, connected to them by a ray of light.
Theirs, like their personal something.
Yeah.
And this is where the moment of ultimate awareness kicked in.
Yes. This seems to be the peak experience described. By intentionally jumping onto this third object when it passed over the lumen, the speaker experienced what they called full awareness for the very first time.
Full awareness. What did that feel like?
Crucially, they were simultaneously aware of everything: their physical body, back on the bed presumably, their energy body, this new external object they were on, and even the human stripe, which sounds like a distinct part of that collective structure within the cocoon, all at once. And this new object, this external point of awareness, it possessed an incredible awareness, just overflowing with knowledge. It made the speaker feel utterly whole.
Mind-blowing. But they faced a choice then, didn't they? A critical decision point.
They did, a very critical one. The speaker knew, somehow, that if they didn't jump back onto their energy body when this strange object passed over the lumen again, that would be it. That would be the fire from within, a permanent departure from the human world as we know it.
Wow. A point of no return.
Seems so. But because they felt they had unresolved tasks, things still to do in this reality, they made the conscious choice to return.
Okay, so what happened right after that decision, the immediate aftermath?
Well, the energy body separated from the double, that higher counterpart, and began its descent. Their physical body, which apparently had been hovering about maybe 1.5 meters above the bed.
Hovering. Seriously.
That's what the source describes. It gently returned back down. But the speaker didn't fully wake up just yet. Their attention then fully locked onto the energy body itself, which was now perceived differently. Simpler. Just a powerful orange-red spot.
Interesting. And the human stripe, that collective structure.
That had changed too. It was no longer this rigid, impenetrable barrier. Now it seemed transparent, soft, misty, and even the volume of darkness, that world of inorganic beings that had seemed frightening before.
Yeah.
They just appeared like dry leaves in the wind, easily repelled, no longer threatening.
So the fear was gone. The whole perception shifted.
Completely. And then the speaker calmly returned to what's called the central flow, and then back into their physical body, fully integrating the experience.
So this wasn't just a personal trip. It fundamentally altered their experience of reality itself, even things that were previously terrifying.
Exactly. The deep insight there, for you, is how perception and intention can literally reshape your experience of these other realms.
Okay, let's drill down a bit more into the energy body itself, its characteristics.
Yeah.
Beyond these, profound peak experiences, what else does your source tell us about its nature?
Well, it's described consistently as this bright, orange-red cloud of energy. And it has its own structure, a set of fibers, and its own assembly point.
An assembly point, like where attention is focused for that body, similar to the cocoon's assembly point.
Exactly. And critically, it's highly responsive to your intentions.
Highly responsive.
Oh.
So if you intend, say, to become a bird in a dream, it's not just a mental image. The energy body itself can actually manifest that energetic shift.
Precisely. It can reshape itself as needed.
Nice.
It can even energetically copy any energetic structure you encounter in these realms.
Copy them. Wow.
Yeah, the speaker points out a secret here. Any dreamer, if they are abstract enough,
Meaning Like detached from rigid ideas of self.
Yeah, sufficiently detached from preconceptions, from who or what they think they are. That dreamer can energetically become the object or the density of energy they meet
Become it.
because there's an intrinsic energetic connection. The energy body itself is described as having almost no limitations. Any limits seem to be tied more to the capabilities of the double, that higher aspect, rather than our normal first attention consciousness.
Okay. And this connection between our everyday mind, the first attention, and this energy body, that's crucial for reaching something called third attention, right?
Yes. The source describes achieving third attention as the merging of the energy of the first attention with the energy of the second attention, which is the energy body.
So third attention is like a vastly expanded state of awareness, combining both ordinary perception and energetic perception.
That seems to be the implication, a much more holistic state of being.
Fascinating. Now, the source also shared some pretty incredible personal observations about other people's energy bodies. What was that like? What did they see?
Yeah, this was interesting. The speaker recounted observing friends while they were asleep. He saw their energy bodies as these luminous bundles of light rising up from their physical bodies. And then these bundles would move towards him. He mentioned maintaining a kind of subtle energetic distance, though, to avoid an overly intense impulse or connection.
And they communicated. How?
Not with words,
Yeah.
telepathically. Their dream bodies reacted directly to his intentions and thoughts, like a silent, energetic conversation was happening.
That's just wild. A silent, energetic chat. So, what's the core takeaway from that observation for us? What does it tell us?
The deep insight here seems to be that your dream body, your energy body in that state, it's your scout. It's your explorer in these other realities.
Okay.
But for it to function effectively as an explorer, and importantly, to remain integrated with you, it needs a worthy idea.
A worthy idea, meaning like a profound guiding intention, a real purpose.
Exactly. Without a truly worthy, deeply held idea driving it, any external slogans or concepts you try to impose, they just remain words. They don't become the actual driving force needed for true exploration and integration of those experiences.
It makes sense. It needs authentic motivation. Okay, this leads us now to a really significant point about, well, global energetic shifts. Your source mentions a specific pivotal event.
Yes, this is a major point in the material. This deep dive reveals what's termed a very significant event for humanity, one that apparently went largely unnoticed by our day-to-day conscious awareness. This was the 2012 transition.
The 2012 transition. Okay, what specifically happened?
Specifically, December 21st, 22nd, and 23rd of 2012. According to the source, the Earth passed through a central beam from the galactic center.
A galactic alignment causing real energetic changes.
Yes. Significant changes in our energetic structure as a species. That's the claim.
So does that mean before 2012, the whole path to connecting with the double, with this deeper awareness, was fundamentally different?
Absolutely, according to this source. Before 2012, anyone wanting to develop contact with their double or the broader dark sea of awareness.
Which the source defines as the vast energy field underlying everything.
Right, the field encompassing all reality. Before 2012, you first had to actively seek the central flow, yourself. This meant transforming your first attention, basically making your personal energy field, your cocoon, more integrated, more round. Then you had to find your energy body, and only then could you really begin the path towards the double. It was a rigorous, multi-step, very personal quest.
Okay, quite an ordeal. But after 2012, something fundamental shifted for everyone, whether they knew it or not.
Yes, that's the core assertion. The dark sea of awareness itself integrated this central flow directly into every single human cocoon.
Wow. Like a universal upgrade.
Kind of. And not only that, it also apparently built in the inherent ability for the cocoon to transform into what's called a crystal. When these new structures are observed energetically, they look like light cobwebs within the cocoon.
So a profound energetic upgrade was just applied universally. What was the practical result of that for human potential?
Well, the main result highlighted is that for the new generation, and really for all of us now, the process of engaging with and reaching the energy body is significantly faster. It's more accessible than it was before this 2012 event.
That's actually incredible news for anyone interested in these paths. Easier access. But there's also a note of urgency in your source, too, isn't there? It's not like the window is open forever.
There is, yeah, and it's presented as a crucial detail. While these built-in energetic structures are still with us, the Earth is now moving away from that central beam, So the transformative effects, the boost, let's say, is less potent now than it was right in 2012 or even a few years later, like 2015-16.
Less potent.
And the source states the next passage through this beam won't happen for another 106 million years.
106 million years. Okay. So what does this mean for us right here, right now, given this finite window?
Well, it translates into a pretty clear call to action from the source. Hurry to become aware.
Hurry to become aware.
Yeah. Don't waste time doubting or delaying.
No.
Start actively using these newly integrated energetic tools that we supposedly all have now. The window, while still open, is finite. That makes conscious engagement right now even more vital.
Okay. That definitely adds a layer of significance.
Yeah.
Let's dig deeper now into the actual functions of the energy body. How does it connect to our everyday lives, even our future? This is where it gets incredibly practical, potentially.
Right. The energy body is presented as fundamental. It's described as being directly responsible for our life.
We're responsible for our life. How so?
Well, think about how attention works. When you focus, maybe when an image or an idea forms quickly, but not quite instantly in your mind's eye, that feeling of attention moving, the source suggests that's the energy body in motion, actively bringing attention from the double into your conscious awareness.
Okay. And this idea you mentioned earlier, moving between densities, what does that mean for our attention?
Yes. So we currently operate in what the source calls the fourth vibrational density, our normal reality. But to actually contact the ultimate source of your attention, the energy body has to travel. It acts like a capsule or a float, and it must traverse and overcome the vibrational characteristics of the fifth, sixth, and seventh densities, both going up and coming back down.
Like a cosmic elevator for our awareness, moving through different frequency bands.
That's a good analogy,
Yeah, and it's in this process, this movement, that our future gets programmed in a way. Is that what the source suggests?
Exactly. That's the idea. At the boundaries of the double's energy, up in those higher densities, future programs or perhaps decisions about upcoming experiences are made. These decisions, these energetic packets, then descend back down into the physical body via the energy body. But we often forget them completely by the time we're back in our conscious waking state.
We forget them. And the source gives a really striking example, doesn't it, to show how these forgotten programs might actually play out in our daily lives. Can you share that?
It does. It describes events that seem totally random or accidental, like someone suddenly getting water poured on them from a second-story window.
Okay, random annoyance.
Or even something much more dramatic and painful, like suddenly breaking a leg for no apparent reason.
Whoa, that's not random.
The source asserts, no, these are not accidental. They are actually complex contacts and agreements. Agreements made between different individuals, their doubles, and their energy bodies, all coordinating these programs to make a specific event happen.
Agreements to break someone's leg. Why?
The purpose given is often singular, to focus your attention, to wake you up energetically speaking, even if it's through a shock or pain.
That idea that our lives might be shaped by these unconscious energetic agreements, that's really something to chew on. But how does the source explain why we don't consciously remember making these agreements? It seems so counterintuitive, right?
It does. And the speaker provides a pretty vivid explanation for this forgetfulness. Apparently, on the return journey, coming back down towards the physical body, as the energy body descends through those different densities, say, the sixth and fifth levels, it gets, well, distracted.
Distracted? By what?
It engages in play, interactions, entertainments available at those vibrational levels, things like seeking out energetic or sexual partners, flying, having other kinds of experiences native to those realms.
Yeah.
And this play consumes a significant chunk of the initial energetic impulse that was received from the double the impulse carrying the actual future program or agreement.
I see. So it's like the message gets diluted on the way back down because the messenger stops to play.
That's a perfect way to put it. By the time the energy body finally reaches the physical body, there just isn't enough energy, enough of that original impulse left to fully register the initial agreement in conscious memory.
So the person just wakes up.
Exactly. The person opens their eyes, maybe has a vague, weird dream fragment. They quickly dismiss, ooh, just a dream. And then they go about their day completely unaware, only to then experience the very event that was agreed upon, like the broken leg.
And the other people involved, like the driver in an accident scenario.
The participants might even experience a strong sense of déjà vu, a fleeting feeling of, haven't I been here before? Or this feels strangely familiar, a momentary echo of the prearranged plan.
Wow. The deep insight here is just Staggering. What we see as random chaos might actually be precisely orchestrated energetic agreements, all designed to jolt us into greater awareness.
That's the perspective offered, yes. It certainly challenges conventional views of chance and accident.
So, what did this people do once they realized this was happening? About these planning circles?
Well, according to the source, the speaker immediately refused to participate further in these specific planning sessions. They described it as their first act of real decision-making in that context.
Real decision making.
Why? Because they realized they wanted to bring the energy, the information from the double sin back into their physical body more intact. They wanted to remember better, to gain conscious control over these processes.
It makes sense. Taking agency.
Right. And interestingly, later on, they were apparently even invited to help plan situations for others. But the goal shifted. It became about designing less traumatic, yet still awareness-inducing scenarios. The aim was, quote, less broken bones, less blood, more awareness.
Fascinating. Shifting from being a participant in potentially harmful agreements to consciously trying to guide the process towards more constructive awareness triggers.
Exactly. A profound shift in agency and intention.
Okay, we spent a lot of time on the energy body. Let's now connect this back to another critical element mentioned in your source, the cocoon. How does the health and the transformation of our personal energy field, the cocoon, relate to all this energetic potential?
Right, the cocoon is crucial too. Your source explains that our cocoon, that energetic field around us, can actually lose energy, can become dehydrated or sick, energetically speaking.
Sick. How?
While the energy body itself isn't subject to the same kind of time decay as our normal first attention and the cocoon, a passive attitude towards the universe, a lack of active engagement with our energy, can lead to the cocoon becoming like dried out waste. Ineffective. Depleted.
So, to really empower your cocoon, make it more than just this passive shell, the source says you have to transform it, not just like patch it up if it's weak.
Precisely. Repair isn't enough for real empowerment. You have to fundamentally transform its structure. The source suggests changing the cocoon into a crystal makes it more flexible, more capable of holding energy. That's the first stage, perhaps linked to the 2012 shift.
Okay, a crystal structure.
Yeah.
But there's more.
Yes. To make it truly invulnerable, as the source puts it, and fully functional for advanced energetic work, it needs to be transformed into straight flows of even lines of fibers. These are also called ribbons or tapes.
Ribbons or tapes, like aligned, direct channels for energy flow. No more tangles.
Exactly. A highly coherent, aligned energetic structure.
And how do we actually achieve this deep transformation of the cocoon? What are the methods?
The two key methods mentioned consistently are recapitulation and conscious dreaming.
Recapitulation. That's the practice of revisiting past events to reclaim lost energy, right?
Yes, energetically re-experiencing and resolving past interactions and traumas to bring your energy back from them. That, combined with the conscious dreaming work we discussed earlier, these are the practices that literally align the twisted and tangled fibers of the cocoon. They make it coherent, strong, and powerful.
So it's active, consistent practice that reshapes our fundamental energy field.
That's the message.
Okay, finally, let's try and put all these pieces, the energy body, the cocoon, the double, into the grandest context mentioned, the dark sea of awareness. What is it according to the source, and how does everything else fit inside it?
Right. The Force clarifies that essentially all of this, everything we've talked about, the cocoon, the energy body, our familiar universe, even much of what's unknown to us, it all exists within the dark sea of awareness.
Within it. So it's the ultimate container.
Yes. It's described as this vast foundational entity or field, and it apparently has 24 levels of density. So when you exist, when your awareness is focused at any one of these levels, you are truly inside that level of density. You're intrinsically connected to and part of the dark sea at that level.
And our universe.
Our entire universe is presented as a creation, a manifestation of the dark sea of awareness.
Wow. The ultimate insight here seems to be that our reality and all these energetic structures are nested within a far, far grander conscious energetic field.
That captures it well. It provides a truly vast perspective.
Now, shifting gears slightly towards the very practical, your source material also included a segment describing a series of physical movements. What can you tell us about those? What's their purpose?
Yes, there was a practical component. These specific movements are described as originating directly from the double, taught by the double itself, is the claim.
Okay, and what are they designed to do?
They're designed to activate and gather energetic awareness, to connect you more tangibly with these energies. The sequence involves some basic muscle warm-ups first. Then there's a core movement, described as taking energy from the side and doing small circles 8 times. This is meant to connect you with the double center.
Double center.
Yeah.
Okay. Other movements?
Yes, others involve taking energy using specific hand-to-leg motions, and also some broader circular movements designed to gather energy more generally. The core purpose seems to be activating and consolidating the energy body, making it more present and accessible to your first attention.
And the feedback from people who actually did these movements, as reported in the source, that was pretty remarkable too, wasn't it?
It really was. People reported sensations like feeling hot, having itchy palms, experiencing vibrations around knees, elbows, and hands.
Mm.
Also, increased concentration and awareness, a feeling of their energy being lighter, sensing an ascending flux from the central stream, even things like dizziness or seeing flies before the eyes, those sort of visual artifacts.
Those sound like very tangible physical and energetic shifts happening.
They absolutely do. These kinds of sensations strongly suggest a real energetic activation is occurring. It's consistent with the stated purpose of the movements connecting more directly to the energy body and the double. They seem to be clear indicators that these practices are having a direct impact on the energetic system.
Okay. What an incredible deep dive this has been. Into the energy body, its nature, its role. From defining it to understanding how it shapes dreams, maybe even daily events, and our potential for transformation. It's really clear this concept is far more than just theoretical, isn't it? It seems intimately linked to our actual lived experience.
Indeed. Yeah, understanding the energy body is the attention of the double. Seeing it as capable of navigating different densities and maybe even shaping our reality through agreements made beyond our conscious memory. That is a profound shift in perspective. It really challenges our usual notions of, free will, chance, synchronicity.
Absolutely. And that information about the 2012 galactic shift and the implied urgency to act now while these built-in energetic structures are supposedly still most potent, that really does emphasize the importance of this knowledge and maybe our own agency in using it.
It really raises a crucial question, doesn't it? If our future is, at least in part, a series of agreements made by our energy bodies, primarily to focus our attention, then what does it mean to consciously try and take control of those agreements, to intentionally shape a different, more aware future for yourself?
That truly is a profound implication to leave our listeners with. Powerful stuff. So, what does all of this mean for you listening right now? We really encourage you to just reflect on these insights. Consider how they might reframe your understanding of your own reality, your dreams, those strange coincidences maybe. And, if you're feeling adventurous, maybe even engage with that practical aspect discussed in your source. Perhaps practice those energy movements mentioned.
Yes, the source definitely suggests practicing them regularly, and maybe even sharing your discoveries or experiences with a group, if possible. That kind of active, consistent engagement seems key. That's how you accumulate the direct impressions and information needed for real energetic transformation, moving it from just interesting theory into direct, felt experience.
Couldn't agree more. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive. We sincerely hope this exploration has given you a fresh perspective, maybe some powerful new tools or ideas to consider on your own path to becoming even more well-informed and ultimately more aware. Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep